Hello everybody and welcome to the video. So today's topic is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk about synthetic biology. We're going to see, is synthetic biology the future, career and scope explained? So this is the topic of today's video. We're going to see in detail about synthetic biology. What is synthetic biology? What are the advances that is happening in this particular field? What are the career opportunities? What is the application of this field? And is this the future? What are the careers and what is the scope of these careers? That's what we're going to see in this particular video. So do watch the video till the end. I'm Dr. Vaishali, academic specialist at Biotecnika. Biotecnika is a space where we guide you in anything and everything regarding your bioscience career. Come, let's explore the topic. So the first point that I have for you is the introduction. Of course, let's see what the synthetic biology means. So synthetic biology is a specialized branch of bioengineering, right? So this particular branch, if you see here, it talks about biology, about engineering and informatics, which is applied on the different components of the living system such as DNA, proteins or cells to get high value applications such as human therapeutics, industrial products, agriculture, animal sciences, aquaculture and protein production, right? So this is what synthetic biology is. So here what generally is being done is the living cell is programmed and reprogrammed so that you use it for a better living system that can be obtained. So different techniques are used in this particular synthetic biology, or we can call it as syn bio, SYN and BIO. So you use different techniques in the synthetic biology, which are genetic sequencing, editing and modification of these genetic elements. So this helps in creating a synthetic organism or organic molecules that can function in living systems, or it's also called redesigning of life because we are creating a synthetic organism altogether. So it can be a new organism altogether, or it could be an existing biological system where we are making changes in that. So that is where programming and reprogramming comes into picture. So this redesign of life has been put for a lot of questioning with regard to ethical and environmental reasons. So let's see about that one by one. So these can be the negative side of synthetic biology as well. So there are a lot of ethical and environmental questions that have been raised. So first and foremost is, what if there's an accidental release of these genetically engineered organisms into the environment and it causes harm to both environment, human as well as the living system, right? So that is one of the question that has been raised. Second is misuse of these technologies. A few scientists are using these technologies, they misuse this technology to their own advantage. And next is do-it-yourself biology, where again, the scientists have the power to use the synthetic biology in the negative consequence as well. Next is about humans crossing their moral boundaries. So here we are going to program the cells. We are going to program the cells in the genetic level and we're going to make changes in the organism. So this has raised a lot of moral questions about how a human has this right to cross these boundaries and play with nature, right? So these are the different kinds of questions that has been raised. But nevertheless, synthetic biology is definitely a booming field today. There is a need for some regulation that has to be put in the synthetic biology as to what should be the limit of the use, in which all industries can it be used and all of that. But yes, that is still under process. But of course, although it has a lot of cons, synthetic biology also has a lot of pros, and we are going to see all of that one by one as well. Now, the second point that I wanted to tell you is about synthetic biology being an interdisciplinary science, right? So this, again, it forms a culmination of biological sciences integrated with engineering principles, right? So here, if you see in this particular diagram, we can see that This is a culmination of molecular biology because it involves all the molecular tools and techniques that are being used. Second, it involves bioinformatics as well because we're talking about editing these genes, and bioinformatics helps in identifying these genes and then what kind of changes can be brought in screening these genes, etc. Right? So that is where bioinformatics plays a role. Next is, of course, computer science, where it helps in developing these bioinformatic tools and also in data analysis. Next is physics, then engineering science, because we are going to reprogram the genes itself, right? So that is where it comes into play. Then it's chemistry, agriculture, because we use synthetic biology in many agricultural sciences where we manipulate all of these genes which can be helped in agricultural sciences. Next is microbiology, where we use microbes, where we design microbes so that they are they are useful to humans, or they are useful to any process that we want to do, right? So that's the reason synthetic biology is also called interdisciplinary science, because it involves all of these sciences into one particular field, right? So that is with the interdisciplinary factor of synthetic biology. So it involves both construction of new biological entity, right, such as enzymes, genetic circuits and cells, as well as redesign and improve upon the genetic blueprints of existing organisms. So it is not just constructing new organisms, but it also talks about, or it also does the redesigning and improving the genetic blueprints of the existing organisms, right? So this is with respect to the interdisciplinary science or interdisciplinary behavior of synthetic biology. Now, the third point I wanted to talk about is how the synthetic biology acts as a biodesign platform, right? So synthetic biology is developing into a biodesign platform. Now, what do we mean by biodesign platform? So this is where we design, we build, test, iterate, and again design, build, test, iterate. So this is a cycle that keeps going on. So we design what kind of changes we need to get into the genetic level. We design what changes we need. Secondly, we build those changes, and then we test if the changes that have come are right or wrong. And if they are wrong, then we're going to improve upon it. We're going to iterate upon it, and then again start designing, building, testing, and iterating, right? So that is what we mean by biodesign platform. So synthetic biology is developing this particular platform. And so why is it developing this platform? So that it can produce novel molecules, materials, or even cells for multiple applications. So even in this diagram, if we see, biodesign is nothing but designing, building, testing, deploying, or iterating further, right? So this is a cycle that happens, and it helps in novel, in producing or manufacturing novel bio-based materials, high value and commodity chemicals, transformative medicine, and healthcare, right? So these are the products or applications that we can see of synthetic biology that is possible, right? Yeah, so that is with respect to one particular platform that it uses, that is a biodesign platform. The fourth point is the advances in synthetic biology or SynBio. That is, what are the advances that is happening presently in synthetic biology? That's what we're going to see. So first and foremost is about the microbes. Now, the microbes being bioengineered, where is it used? So we know that technically by nature itself, we have all the microbes that we exploit and use their usual life cycle to the benefit of humans or to the benefit of any processes that we are developing. But in the case of fermenters and bioreactors, that is a human-made process in itself. So these microbes cannot be, all of these microbes cannot be efficiently, they cannot work in these fermenters. So there is a need to redesign or recombinant DNA technology has to be used in the microbes so that we can engineer them according to the needs of the bioreactor and fermenter, right? So that is one of the application. Second is automation and artificial intelligence. So the use of automation and artificial intelligence in bioengineering these microbes, it helps in reducing the cost and time. Otherwise, the amount of resources that we have to put in order to help in redesigning these microbes, it will be very huge. So this automation and artificial intelligence, or we can call it machine learning as well. So these technology have helped in improving the recombinant DNA or reprogramming or programming of microbes so that they can be used in the bioreactors or the fermenters according to our need, right? So that is with respect to microbes. Second, we are going to talk about plants, right? So when it comes to plants, there are two things. So one is production of vaccines. So plants these days, they are used in large scale production of vaccines using the tobacco plants. So tobacco plants are used so that we can get large scale production of vaccines in manufacturing sector. Second is the chloroplast. The plant chloroplast, it uses the sunlight, it harnesses the sunlight and it does photosynthesis. So this particular technique is harnessed for producing synthetic biological compounds. So that is with respect to plants. Third is the healthcare. Now, where is synthetic biology used in the process or in healthcare? So they are very commonly used in the biomedicine field. So first we are going to talk about is the chimeric antigen receptor or the CAR therapy, CAR therapy. So here what happens is the T cells or the immune cells are engineered such that they can recognize and they can attack the cancer cells that is there in our body. So that is called the chimeric antigen receptor therapy. So that is one therapy that has been developed because of synthetic biology, and it is very highly researched upon. Second is about genetically engineered viruses. So these genetically engineered viruses are used to treat inherited diseases, because inherited diseases do not have a proper a treatment per se. Example, something like SCID, that is severe combined immune deficiency. So these diseases do not have a proper treatment, but the use of genetically engineered viruses have promised bringing about treatment for inherited diseases. Third is reprogramming the somatic cells into stem cells. So these somatic cells, they do not have the ability to for pluripotency or totipotency, right? So these are reprogrammed into pluripotent stem cells, and these stem cells can then be programmed to various kind of cells, right? So that is another application that is happening in healthcare in the synthetic biology industry. Next is pharmacogenomics, or what we call as personalized medicine. So because the genetic makeup of every person changes, and the amount of drug or the effectiveness of drug that is needed for every person's body is different, right? So pharmacogenomics comes into play here, where your genetic makeup is studied. Every individual's genetic makeup is studied, and according to the genetic makeup, the medicine or the drug is being prescribed, right? So that is where synthetic biology also comes into play, where they devise drugs according to the genetic makeup of every person. So that is called pharmacogenomics. The next application in the field of healthcare is optimizing antibody or vaccine production. So the efficiency and the optimization of vaccine production has been increased because of synthetic biology. And one such application is the coming up of edible plant-based vaccines, so that the target and the delivery of the vaccine is very high. So yes, edible plant-based vaccines have come up because of synthetic biology, right? Next is xenotransplantation. So xenotransplantation is when transplantation happens between organisms. That is when a human gets a transplant from a different species altogether, right? So xenotransplantation is possible if we use genetically engineered pigs, right? So that is one kind of research that's being happening. So that is also an application in the field of healthcare. The last application at healthcare, or the advancement that has happened in the field of healthcare, is theranostic cell lines. So what theranostic cell lines does is it senses a disease state and it produces an appropriate therapeutic response by its own, right? So that is what these cell lines are, and this is also designed, or this is produced because of synthetic biology, right? So these are the different advancements that has been happening in the field of healthcare and is heavily researched upon as well. Now, the next advancement we're going to talk about is metabolomics. Now, what is metabolomics? Metabolomics is the study of metabolites. So in the case of disease, if we talk about, it is mostly the biomarkers, the study of biomarkers. So if we have all of the biomarkers for a particular disease, then we call it a disease fingerprint. So we will have that disease fingerprint, and that will help in earlier detection of diseases as well as prognostic monitoring. So for both detection as well as for treatment, you need to know the disease fingerprint, or the biomarkers that come up when the disease is prevalent in an organism, right, or a human. So developing the sensors of multiple disease-specific biomarkers. So one biomarker need not be specific to one particular disease. The biomarker can be a result of, or it can be a biomarker for many diseases as well. So metabolomics helps in, or the use of synthetic biology in metabolomics, it helps in developing these sensors for multiple disease-specific biomarkers, right? So these are the advancements that has happened in the field of metabolomics in human body. The next is about cybergenetics. Now, what is cybergenetics? Cybergenetics is the use of computer control of cellular process at the gene level. So when the computer controls the cellular processes, then the field is called cybergenetics, and synthetic biology helps in development of the cybergenetics. So whenever the cellular homeostasis is not maintained, right, what happens is we get signals in the form of maybe light or chemicals, and these signals, they act as genetic switch, right, and they help in triggering the computer responses so that the cellular homeostasis is maintained, right? So that is how the cybergenetics work in humans. Next is about advanced materials, where it's no more about the healthcare, it's no more about diseases, but about other materials. That is, it talks about integration of biochemical components with inorganic components, right? So this helps in to get the sense the environment and change their properties. So these materials, they sense what is happening, what are the changes that's happening in the environment, and they change their process, or they adapt their properties such that they can survive in that particular environment, right? So that is what an advanced material will do, and this is possible because of integration of a few biochemical components into an inorganic component. So some of the example that is being researched upon is protective clothing or even building materials. For example, if I have to talk about protective clothing, so we have different seasons in earth, right? So if at all the season changes, how the clothing can change on its own, right? So that is what, for example, the cloth that you might be wearing in summer is different from what it has to be in winter, right? So but the integration of biochemical components can sense the how the season has been changing in the whatever biochemical component is there in the cloth. It can sense how the season is changing, and it can adapt itself according to the season, right? So that is how you get an advanced material, and that is possible with the help of synthetic biology, right? So we saw what are the advances in synthetic biology. Now let us move on to the fifth point, that is the applications of synthetic biology, right? So first and foremost, we have standardized biological parts. So it's important to have these standardized parts, because only that will help in further development of synthetic biology. To build new biological systems, you need standardized processes in place. So one of the applications is standardizing these biological parts. The second is application in protein designing, right? So this talks about redesigning existing biological parts. That is, for example, golden rice. So in golden rice, what we do is we have added vitamin A component into the rice, and we call it golden rice. So this has redesigned the existing rice such that people with vitamin A deficiency can take up this rice and they will get the desired nutrients, right? So this is where we have applied the protein design. Third is natural product synthesis. So here we talk about engineering the microbes to produce all the necessary enzymes that is needed for that particular system to run. For example, in bioremediation, if I have to talk, in bioremediation, what happens is we engineer the microbes such that they can remove the pollutants that's present in, say, water or air, etc. Right? So that is how we have engineered these microbes in order to produce the enzymes that can help in digesting the pollutants that is present in the environment. So that is with respect to natural product synthesis. The last application we're going to talk about is synthetic genomics. Now, what do we mean by synthetic genomics? Is design and construct a simple genome. For example, yeast. So yeast has been engineered to produce rose oil. So generally rose oil, which is being used as a fragrant in, say, perfumes, etc. So all of these are gotten from they get this rose oil from natural roses, which is a more complex process in itself. So to get a simple genome, you can engineer yeast to produce rose oil, right? So that's a more simpler method, and it's called synthetic genomics. These are the different applications of synthetic biology. Now moving on to the sixth point, that is our question to be answered today, that is synthetic biology the future? Now, we've seen a lot about application, about advancements that has been happening in synthetic biology, and the question is synthetic biology the future? The answer is definitely a yes. To see about, why is it a yes? Because synthetic biology today is what computers were in the 1960s. So back then in 1960s, nobody believed that computers will rule the world today, but that is what has happened today, right? So that is what synthetic biology today is, and it will definitely progress and boom in the coming years, because synthetic biology was developed only 15 to 20 years ago. So there is a very emergent or a booming field in here, and because of this, UK government, it has identified synthetic biology as one of the 8 emerging technologies in the world as well, and it has also invested a lot in this particular technology. So synthetic biology, it talks about characterizing molecular components and standardizing them, and it also helps in it makes biology understandable through abstraction, right? So what computers generally do is they help in solving problems that humans face, in easing those problems by abstracting, and that is abstraction. And that is what biology also, or synthetic biology also tends to do, that is make biology more understandable through this abstraction process. So yes, synthetic biology is definitely the future, and we can see that happening already. Now, the 7th point that I wanted to talk to you is about the careers that is available in synthetic biology. So, first of all, this is a collaborative opportunity in synthetic biology. We saw how, different interdisciplinary processes are there, that is engineering, computer science, chemistry, all of these together form synthetic biology. So of course the opportunities in this particular field is also very huge. So if you have to talk about a career, especially in the career opportunities, then yes, one can become an entrepreneur because this is an emerging field. So if you are able to enter in this field as an entrepreneur, then yes, you have a very bright future. Next is in the research. So we also talked about various researches that's going on, various advancements that's going on. So you can enter any of these, any of those if you're interested in, that is into research. Third is into manufacturing. that is not just research, but this research has to come into use, that is through manufacturing and through production. Next is you can be a consultant in any of the industry, in any of the companies that are working in synthetic biology. Next is SynBio education. If you want to mentor, if you want to educate people on it, then you can enter into academics as well. Next is the bioethics component. So we saw a lot of questions that are raised with respect to synthetic biology, and if you want to answer those from the ethical point of view, then you can enter into bioethics as well. Next is policy development. So we already saw the need for regulation in synthetic biology. So if you're into this policy development, and if you are somebody who wants to influence government or the NGOs or the think tankers into how synthetic biology has to be regulated in the country or in the world, then you can take up that as a career option as well. Right, so that is with respect to the careers. Now, in the end, let us finish with conclusion. So concluding this particular topic, of course, yes, so heavy investments are being made in the field of synthetic biology today from many countries. So it is going to impact businesses, and it is going to be a major economic driver in today's world. So in conclusion, it has a very bright scope. So if at all you're thinking about synthetic biology, then do let us know in the comment section what is the most interesting thing that you find about synthetic biology. We're very happy to know about your insights. Thank you so much, and see you all until next video.